Hey, peace. So I'm gonna try to explain this kind of quick. So I know this subject can be kind of intricate, and I ain't really no astute student on these topics, but I get the basics and I get the concepts, and I can point you into the history that you can go read it up for yourself and get an understanding of where we come from when we say our status in law is the problem. Okay, so I shared this on Twitter the other day because this tweet right here had a lot of you know retweets. So I put this on her. And this one was like, "America's lucky black people don't want it. Black people want equality and not revenge." So I just put on there, "Black people will never have equality because of our status in law." Right. So I shared this little meme that someone created. I have no idea. I've stolen it from Twitter at some point. And it's talking about the Dred Scott case. Okay, so whoever ain't familiar with the Dred Scott case, go read it up on it. And like I say, I'm trying to keep this video short. And I want to point to the references for you to go understand this yourself. Because if something, when somebody tells you something that you ain't never heard before or that you're not familiar with, that's a form of colonizing your mind. If you're not, you know what I'm saying? If you call my son bothering me, hold on. Oh, you okay? Go ahead. Um, if it's something that you're not familiar with, that's a form of colonizing your mind. This is why so many of us um, right now can't seem to grasp the concept that we are indigenous to America. You understand what I'm saying? And that's because our minds are colonized to believe that we are only from Africa. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to explain everything to you in this. I'm going to show you what happened. So basically, this black guy, right, so-called black guy, I'm using black connotatively. At the end of the day, we are Moors. We were Moors before we were black people. All right, I've shown that in various videos. Other Moors have shown this. All you got to do is look up the etymology of black. It'll tell you it comes from the Black of Moor in 1620, which was attached to Moors from 1500s. Okay, so you was a Moor, you was a Black of Moor, then you was black. So you off top of Moor. It just is what it is. Okay, but so anyway, the Dred Scott, he was a guy who was a slave, and he got his freedom in one state, and when he went to another state, they tried to enslave him again. He was like, "No," I think it was Missouri, as a matter of fact. Which is anyway, I ain't gonna look see if you get. And that's why you got to get into this for yourself. But anyway, let me keep going. In Missouri, and he said since he was a freed slave from Africa, since he said he from Africa, and he freed himself. He was a slave, and he freed himself. That he is what I'm saying, he should be free. And the judge told him no, what it say, descendants of Africans who were imported to this country and sold as slaves are not included nor intended to be included or a citizen in the Constitution, whether emancipated or not. Yeah, whether emancipated or not. So Emancipation Proclamation means what? But anyway, and remained without rights or privileges except such as those with the government might grant them. Oh my God. Yeah, y'all gotta see. Y'all, you have to understand. Like, as a black people right now, do we have the same rights as the so-called white people? All right. I don't. Do I need to prove that point? So when I shared this, I got a lot of these pale skinned Europeans jumping on here, and even some Hispanic people, or so-called Mexicans or what have you, jumping on here telling me how wrong I am. The 14th Amendment fixed all this and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, all right, and which I responded to these some of these people. I don't waste my time with European people I don't waste my time with nobody other than more so-called black people. I mean, because I'm not wasting my time. I'm putting my time in. I will dialogue with my people all day. You other people, if y'all not offering me nothing, you understand what I'm saying? Don't come here telling me some shit, telling me I'm racist because I don't want to talk to somebody. Get the fuck out of my back. Yeah, just shut up. So I ain't got time for none of that dumb shit. So anyway, let me get back to the point. So the Black's Law, I mean, not Black's Law, excuse me. Dred Scott case was in 1854, I believe. The 14th Amendment was in 1868, I think. And the 13th Amendment was 65. Now, check it out. Just as right now, right? Now, black folks should understand this concept. we've been used as the martyrs, right, for a movement. Okay, the Crispus Attucks, right, the first guy to die for the American Revolution, and you know that ties all the way into the ritual that's carried on today by Hollywood of the black person dying first in a movie, in a horror movie and things of that nature. Okay, it's a science to using the original people to push an agenda. All right, that's why we influence. I mean, and you can know we the original people just by the fact of how we influence the world. I think right now proves it. I mean, if it didn't before this, but anyway. So if you go, if you first off, let's go to the other part I want to share. Okay, the Sundry Free Moors Act. Sundry Free Moors Act. Sundry just means like a diverse, an array of people. You know, a divided, a different, a various people. So it's basically saying the various Moorish Act, essentially. All right, you can look that up if you like. Set it down right there, baby. Um, so I'm gonna get a little bit. I'm gonna let them. I'm not gonna go to RV Bay Publications to explain this. I'm gonna go somewhere else. So I let other people because I know some people think that you know I don't some people think that people make stuff up or some shit. I don't know. So anyway, we're gonna go here to this, and this is he talking about Islamophobia and how I ain't something happened in 2015. Somebody shot something. I'm sure y'all probably aware of this. I don't remember it, but okay, something like this happened. Muslim Lives Matter was a hashtag. See how Black Lives Matter was first, and then other Lives Matter came about. What's what I say? Using the original person as the start of an agenda. Okay, so go here so you understand what we talking about. Let's start at the beginning. By the time of the American Revolution, a sizable Moroccan Muslim community known as Moors in the language of the era had developed in around Charleston, South Carolina. Some community members were likely former slaves, but many others had chose to immigrate from Morocco, which the U.S. had a so-called Treaty of Friendship. All right. Uh, Alright, Morocco indeed was the first African nation to recognize the new United States during the Revolution, the first nation. Worried about being denied rights due to South Carolina's system of slavery, a group of Muslim Americans petitioned the state's court requesting that they be recognized as white. Peep it. A tribunal of judges led by the prominent South Carolinian Charles Pickney. If you look him up, they'll tell you he was a promoter of slavery. Okay, so peep this. Agree with their petition, and the state legislature passed the Moorish Sundry Act of 1790, designating this Moroccan Muslim community white for the purposes of law. God damn it! Now what Moors telling you? What Moors be saying? We are free white persons, right? Let me find it. Okay, so you see right here, free white person, referring to the Naturalization Act as amended by Act July 14th of 1870. You have to peep the dates, okay? Because I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. Okay, has a meaning naturally given to them first used in statute, one blah blah blah, meaning all the persons belonging to the European races, and then commonly counted as white. See, and we automatically assume right here that that's talking about pale skinned people, but that's not. Check it. And their descendants, including such citizens in their countries to which they have immigrated, which include all European Jews, more or less in the mix, with people of Celtic, Scandinavian, Moorish inhabited Spain, mixed Phoenician, North African, this is white people, inhabitants of Sicily, mixed Slav, Tartar, inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European race, nor the mixed Indo-European, Dravidian, saying a Syrian of Asiatic birth and descent will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person. Syrian of Asiatic birth. Okay, so you see, free white person, we talking status, okay? Not Caucasian, not I mean, you see Moorish is white. Okay. Phoenician, North African, white. Jew, white. Okay. Status and law. Because this is your land. Okay. That's why you're the white person of this land. But when you call yourself black, you give that status up. And that's why they said designated Moroccan Muslims as American. Okay. And then I just told you, anyway. The law was complicated as race in American history has always been. It allowed members of this community to be counted more fully for state population and federal representation purposes. It also gave these Muslim Americans opportunities to vote and serve in juries and gain opportunity benefits. Citizens, even as Black Americans, were largely denied those same rights. Status. These just people who knew law. Just as it is today. And you got to understand, just because they only talk about these four people in this act, it's called the Sundry Free Moors Act. So it's something like I told you, sundry means various people. So it's all the Moors, anybody that can enforce this act, anybody that know who they are and know where they come from. Okay. All right. So you get a better understanding of this Sundry Free Moors Act. First, see sundry. Sunday language. Sundry means separate. Like I said, separate, diverse, or various. Okay. Let me show you what diverse is to give you a better definition. Diverse is various, several, sundry, right? A collection, a term, or grouping of a number of unspecified persons, objects, or acts. Okay. So what it's saying, the Sundry Free Moors Act, right? Saying the various Moors, okay, of the land. Right, so this is just an act to put down in law so all Moors of the land can utilize it. That's why 2 months later, the Naturalization Act. Okay, so let me show you. I'm gonna read this. It's from this site. This lady. Okay, it says no one has really been able to determine why a crescent, an iconic Muslim symbol, is on the South Carolina state flag. However, it is well known that several Muslims live in Sumter, South Carolina, referred to as the Turks. This is very important. All right. Okay. Referred to as the Turks of Sumter County. In several census documents and land documents, the Moor Sundry Act of 1790 and official release state legislature committee reports provide evidence of this. So you see, Moors were called Turks. All right. Okay, that's important. So you understand the namings of us, how our names have changed as people, because we are that old of people now. This is going on. General Thomas talking about that. Peep this. One of his employees, Yusuf ibn Ali. Okay, I don't need to tell you that's Moorish. Okay, we must understand when they say Muslim, they're coming from a modern perspective of religion. Okay, but back in the day, Muslim is more. You understand what I'm saying? The religion was the culture. Okay, and the culture was named after the people. All right, so check it. Yusuf ibn Ali, who later came to be known as Joseph bin Haney. So you see how Moore's names went from the original name to an anglicized version of it while we were doing business with the United States of America. You understand what I'm saying? Was listed as a soldier in the Continental Army, came to live in Summers Land and as a wheelwright, blah blah blah. Recorded census. Okay, check it out. How long was that? Yeah, it was interesting to me that he got 33 acres, but that could be a coincidence. Right? In 1790, the South Carolina State Legislature passed the Moor Sundry Act of 1790, right? More various. Okay, and I think she got it worded funny, but it's the Sundry Free Moors Act. So it's various free Moors, more various acts. Okay. In this act, the free Moors, Francis, Daniel, Hammond, Salmon, petitioned on behalf of their wives, like I said earlier, to the state to be free people of color. So you see, Moors are black people, right? During the continent, colonial and up to civil rights, a person's race will dictate whether one could marry and blah blah blah. And they're gonna explain this some more of this the story that they filed in the Moor Sundry Act. Say you can read that if you want to. That ain't the point. Well, that ain't my point right now. Okay, I want to show you something that's interesting. After the Moor Sundry Act was passed, several other people also requested to be considered free people of color because the Moors established that when they put that on record. You understand what I'm saying? To be a free person of color, to be treated as a free white person. In addition, in addition, in 1830, descendants of David Scott, which is very interesting because Dred Scott is where we start, right? I don't know that these two people are related in any way. But it's only a 20-year difference. And South Carolina to what was it, Missouri? All you got to do is go look up the history of these two people, and you may find a connection. Who knows? But the point is, that last name Scott is personal for me because you understand what I'm saying. I'm a because that's my surname. You know what I'm saying? I was born a Scott. That was my last name before I corrected my appellation and declared my nationality. But that is still my surname either way. Okay, so when I see this, I'm like, oh. So when I seen Dred Scott, I was like, oh shit, ain't that a bitch? So the first a free person of color went to ask to be exempt from tax placed on free blacks in the view of service in the military American Revolution. The committee report was titled "The Committee of Ways and Means report the petition of David Scott and sundry citizens." Okay. See, so they referencing the Sundry Free Moors Act without putting more on the record because understand they're not putting that shit on the record because they don't want us to know that shit. They've been doing this. I'm saying this is what I'm showing you. They've been doing this. Okay, so got designated as a free person. So David Scott may be exempt from being designated a free person of color. That ended up leading me right. I was researching that to this book right here. I ended up buying it. This book right here, just FYI, if anybody want to, get some more background to this stuff. But some Turks, right? Because what I got as I was looking through it, I came up on the book, right? And I'm looking through the text, what have you, and they make references to the Scott family being Indians, right? And then the Indians being Egyptians, right? So look, you say home house near where the Benhanis. Remember, I told you Ibn Ali, Yusuf Ibn Ali was been turned his name to Ben Haney, and Scots and their families live. They got to be called Turks by the country people. You see, okay, Turks, Moors, okay, Indian. Watch. Port of conditional rights of Indians. Port includes a branch of the Indians located near Summer, South Carolina. Oh, the red bones known. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Up here at the very top, though, it show where all up and through here, he giving examples of how these people were related to Indians. David Scott, oh, but also and how these people were considered free people of color, but and at the same time, some of these people were considered to be white. You understand what I'm saying? Because back then, white was not a complexion, not a complexion. You mean European, free white person. The you'll see you seen the definition is you're a descendant of Europeans, but not the Caucasian. You see what I'm saying? The original European is Moors. That's the point. You see what I'm saying? So to be white was to be Moor, not pale skin. See, and it's a difference between and Moors were Moors, Indians, and Negroes were all considered separate. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, they were all dark skinned people. So today, we would see an Aboriginal Indian, right? And he dark skinned looks just like us. Okay, so he's a black person. We would see a Muslim from North Africa, right? Who we would say, oh, he's a Moor, right? Oh, he's a black person. And then we would see somebody who live in Britain right now, Lennox Lewis, goddamn me, Anthony Joshua, and we say, oh, he's a black person, but in history, those three people will be labeled three different things. You see what I'm saying? But are they different people? You understand? So the youngest son of James Scott taxed as an Indian. You see? Now Charles Oxendine, the youngest son of Aaron Oxendine and James Scott, taxed as an Indian. Okay, so they got bleached out eventually. And long story short, the name, and that's what I and that's core and that correlates to us as a people in general because this is just an example of how it goes. So you see the names for some Indians that was in the Revolutionary War. Last names was Scott. You see all the other names, John, Pike. You see regular ass names. Okay, and then they later on up in here they talk about how they descend from Egyptians. You see, let me see if I can find it real quick before I get off of here and we go on. But I just wanted you to see how, and they call mestizos at the same time because they're mixing. You see, they're mixing at that time. Everybody is just mixed in. It's a whole bunch of, just like it is now. It's no difference. Just like it is now. Everybody mixed in. And you can't determine who's what. You know, everybody been sexing up everybody. Let me see if I can find this. European, see, it's a European Scott family, deeply set in European and Indian blood. See, we think European mean pale skin, but that's not what they're saying. That's not what they're saying. You see what I'm saying? Because we know who the original Europeans was. We know who the Europeans who came over here. We know they used the pale skin European as their military hand. If you understand that, then you can look at this and you can see how we all been mixed up, caught up in these words. And so Joseph Ben Hini, who was Ibn Ali, right, was an Ottoman. See, the Ottoman Empire. At the same time, people were considered to be pure blood Indian. Because they all are black people. Okay? All right. So after the Dred Scott case, you had the Civil War about 10, 20 years later. And then 13th Amendment, right? And the 14th Amendment. And the 15th Amendment was the vote. Okay. So, like I told you, they use us as a catalyst to, you know what I'm saying, run their agenda. Okay, so this, now, I can't remember where I got this from. I got it from some website, man. I don't remember. But I'm going to show you what it's talking about anyway, so you understand, just give you understanding. A fraudulent reprint was published. The Constitution of the United States of America, of meaning a governmental process document, replacing the organic or original the Constitution for the United States of America, for meaning a government document for the federal government as the law of the land, omitting the de jure 13th Amendment addressing titles of nobility, never lawfully nullified, with the de facto 13th Amendment addressing slavery and involuntary servitude, never lawfully ratified. Then came the 14th Amendment, which oh, hold on. Now, let me show you that. Before I go here, now it said the 13th Amendment, right? With the 20 sections. Okay, come to this site, MoorishAmericanRepublic.com. Where can I see the 13th Amendment with 20 sections? Do this, and then you're going to get here, right? It'll look like this. Like I told you, go to page 311, and here you go. 20 sections, right? Now, these 20 sections is crazy too if you read them. But okay, so on the motion, Mr. Salisbury amended that the amendment made to the committee of a whole be struck by striking out the words. Listen, so this he's a senator, and they say he's crazy too. He suggested strike out these words. Look at these words. These are the ones you know as the Articles, the 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor voluntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime wherefore the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2 chart Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. And okay, so that's the quote. He's saying striking out this right? What we know is the 13th Amendment, and inserting in lieu of the following. And this is the 20 sections. Now, watch one. Look, hold on. Involuntary servitude, except for a crime, shall not be permanently established in the district set up for the government of the United States, but the right of sojourn in such district with a person held to service or labor for life shall not be denied. Check it out. A person held to service or labor for life in any state under the laws may or may be taken to any territory. So this motherfucker is basically saying, look, I'll hold on, piece of symbol. Use the public obstruct criminal protection. Okay, the right of citizen to free lawful speak, access to citizen ballot boxes. Okay, well, yeah, right here he's just telling you, a person held to service or labor for life, a slave. You is what it is, nigga. When any territory not in south, north or south, you to Congress. Nah, okay. But this is what I want to show you. This is one of these specifically. It's going straight, and this is why they didn't want to put this on record. Okay, check it. Hold on. No station passing in law. I can't remember which one it is. But I'll see it when I see it. Damn. All right, here you go. The traffic in slaves with Africa is hereby forever prohibited on the pain of death and the forfeiture of all the rights and property of persons engaged therein, and the descendants of Africans shall not be citizens. Alleged fugitives from labor or service or request shall have a trial by jury. All alleged fugitive charge. Watch, I'm gonna say something else there. If you want to go back to Africa, they'll help you. Here you go. Congress may assist free persons of African descent to immigrate and civilize Africa. If you want to go back over there, you go no. But you ain't supposed to be. But understand, they're not talking about us black folks. Because we Indians. We're not descendants from African. We Indians. But that's the catch. That's the flip to get you to be a descendant of an African. Because really, Africans ain't can't be descendants of African can't be citizens. Not in the original sense of the word citizen. Okay. Yes, it is that fucking complicated because yes, these people are fucking you over. Like you think it's gonna be simple how they fucking you over? You think this ain't no motherfucking mass-minded scheme? Okay. Okay, so there's the 13th Amendment, right? That's what it says. So I'm showing you the original 13th Amendment, the one that they didn't put on the record. But they gotta have it on the record. You'll see. Go to the next image. I'll show you. It was determined in the negative. On the question to concur on an amendment made in the committee of the whole was determined on the affirmative. So they left it like it was. You see what I'm saying? They're like, nah, we ain't gonna put all that in there. Okay, but that's still, but see, the thing about it is, that's really the laws that's going on behind the scenes. But then, young, like you're dealing with crooked crooks. Like, God damn it, the government is not your friend. Government means mind control. Govern to govern. Okay, people who know cars, you know the governor of the car. Don't let it go too fast or what have you. Right? The government means control. Ment is mind. To control your mind. Okay, so let's get back to the explanation. Then, so after the 13th Amendment, where they left out, you know what I'm saying, the juicy stuff, right? Then came the 14th Amendment, where sections 2 create for the national federal democracy voluntary servitude, though by consent of a governed via voter registration and the act of voting, and created federalized democracy, eliminating the right of sovereignty in the several states united it's all in the word magic, aka semantics. Okay, so the 14th Amendment came after the 13th Amendment, right? Pete, a bit more. Hold on. Okay, so the 13th Amendment passed by Congress, right? The 14th Amendment to the Constitution was unlawfully ratified on July 9th, 1868, and created a national federal democracy, nullifying the Constitution, voluntary servitude via voter registration, and the act of voting. And the 15th Amendment was formally adopted by the United States Constitution, and the right of citizens in the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. I have to peep that. Why would you need to have race and color in this statement? This is the 60. This is the 15th Amendment. Okay, that's double talk. Okay, if it's by any state on account of race, right? Not by any state on account of race, then you don't need to put color, right? Because you just said that by saying race, right? So why put color? Because color don't mean race. Color means fake. Okay, so it's saying by any state on account of race or color, whether they're real or not. Look, color color means an appearance, a semblance, a disguise, prima facie, or the apparent right. Hence, a deceptive appearance, a lack of reality. Hence, when you're colored, by common usage in America, this term is such phrases colored person, colored race, colored man, is used to designate Negroes, a person of the African race, including all persons of mixed blood. They don't hide the shit. I put that on her. But where the state constitution provide for separate, oh yeah, blah, 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 watch. It has been held that there is no legal technical signification to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. No legal technical signification. Meaning, you're not important. You're fake. You're a fake person. Now, the flip, fake out, if you will, is in the 14th Amendment. And this is what I mean when I say using us to forward their agenda. I thought I had the 14th Amendment on. Okay. So the 14th Amendment is the one they flipped it on us. Okay. So they needed the 13th Amendment, right? To abolish slavery, right? And that was the Civil Rights Act of all right. Civil Rights Act. Okay. I like as I'm reading this shit, I'm putting it together. Okay. So the Civil Rights Act, right? These motherfuckers are slick, man. Y'all gotta peep how they do this shit. Okay, so they found the Civil Rights Act, right, for the equality of people, right? Civil Rights Act, summarized, proposed, blah blah blah. Now, people, the definition of civil rights, the definition given to the term civil rights in Bouvier's Law Dictionary is very concise and is supported by the best authority. It is this civil rights are those which have no relation to the establishment, support, or management of government. Damn. During the subsequent this process, the key provisions was deleted. There shall be no discrimination in civil rights or immunities among the inhabitants of any state or territory in the United States on account of race, color, or provision, condition of servitude. John Bingham was influential supporter of this deletion on the ground that courts might construe the term civil rights more broadly than people like Winston intended. No, understand that that was the scheme in the first place to broaden the meanings of civil rights. That's why they want us fighting for that. Okay, so my son keep coming here and interrupting. So that's when it got denied, right? The Civil Rights Act got denied. Overall, President. Oh, they tried to the Senate passed the Civil Rights Act, but President Andrew Johnson vetoed it. This marked the first time U.S. Congress ever overrode the presidential veto in a major piece of legislation. That's why they say none of this shit has ever been rightfully ratified. Okay, act to protect all with the implicate of an act to protect all persons in the United States. This is the key. Okay, and then the 14th Amendment is gonna sum it up. Watch. Persons, because when they say persons, right? This is Black's Law, fourth edition. When they say persons, they are talking about this right here. Okay? That's why they say race or color. Because we know race to be right, our ethnicity, our skin color, etc. But this says race or color, okay? Because color means fake, right? So the 14th Amendment comes about. Okay, so before I go to the 14th Amendment, you see, said the Civil Rights Act of 1866 also said that citizens had the same rights that a white citizen has to make and enforce all contracts, sue and be sued, give evidence in court, and hearing purchase, etc., etc., etc. Now, When you see that, we say citizen, right? Remember, I showed you a person what they really talking about. When you say citizen, you assume, right? Citizen, no person, right? Check it out. Citizen, da 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 da. A corporation is a citizen under whose laws it is created. Okay? And now remember, okay, no, okay, I ain't show you that. But you see citizen goes down in American law. In American law, there you go. All persons born or naturalized in the United States or subject of the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States in which they reside. The term may include or apply to an elector qualified to vote in an election. I read that specifically because I'm gonna show you something in a second. But if you come, you can see it go down and come up, and that's when it tells you a corporation is a citizen. All right. So this act was potentially granting corporations, right, the rights of citizens. Okay, so that's why Andrew Jackson shot the shit down, right? But they got it through anyway. Okay, now look, this act used language very similar to that of the Equal Protection Clause in the newly proposed 14th Amendment. Okay, in particular, this act discussed the need to provide reasonable protection to all persons and their constitutional rights of equality before the law without distinction of race or color. You see? You see? So we see this and this, and we think because we black people, but in actuality, they're talking about status, artificial beings, previously conditioned slavery, or involuntary servitude, set for punishment of crime, where it shall be duly convicted. Okay, so the 14th Amendment, right? All persons born or naturalized. Okay, so you say born, you thinking born like a child being born from his mother, because it's essentially saying anybody born, all persons born, right? But born is just referencing a child, essentially. Now, where is it? Okay, my bad. Just referencing a child, right? First thing it says, child. If you go to Black's Law, 5th edition, you see a child, see also person. Okay? So a child can be in this definition, right? This is legalese, okay? Double meanings. It can mean a person born, like we think, just a regular person, right? But it also can mean an artificial entity created, okay, or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens, right? But we know citizen, okay, citizen is a person born and naturalized in the United States according to the 14th Amendment. Okay, so you come down, check it out. However, neither the United States nor a state citizen, for the purposes for the neither the United States nor a state is a citizen for the purposes of diversity of jurisdiction. Okay, so a state or a city, the United States nor a state is considered a citizen, right? But watch. On the other hand, municipalities and other local governments are deemed to be citizens. Okay, now check that. Look at this. A corporation is not a citizen for the purpose of privileges and immunity. For the purposes of privileges and immunity clause of the 14th Amendment. Now you remember the privileges, because the privileges and immunities, no state shall make and enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges and the immunities of a citizen of the United States. Right? So it's saying that they can set laws, right? And they can disregard a corporation in that, because no corporation can claim to be a citizen for those purposes. But you see, a corporation is still deemed a citizen. Okay, so when they say a corporation is not a citizen for the purposes of privileges and immunity clause. We assume that means that because of business. Well, for one, The average person don't even look at that. And the average person don't even know a citizen is considered a corporation. So they don't know that a corporation that doesn't apply to this right here. The privileges and immunities. They don't. The average person don't think the 14th Amendment got anything to do with a corporation. But that's the point. And that's why it's making that reference is that you can't own it. You can't stop a law from being created because you have a company there. I mean, because of a corporation. That's what they're saying. But the line that shouldn't even be a correlation. You know what I'm saying? Corporations should never be considered a citizen. It's a corporation. You understand what I'm saying? It's a tool used by citizens. The citizens have been equated to that. That's why they have to make that distinction. You see, understand what I'm saying? Okay, so consequently, you can read this as a corporation, but we understand a black person is a corporation. A black person is not a citizen for the purposes of privileges and immunities clause of the 14th Amendment. Do we get our rights respected, family? No, we don't. I mean, I don't have to explain it. I don't have to explain it to my people. Okay? So here it is, written in legalese, code language. You see? That's why you hide something from a nigga. You dig? Okay. Okay. Citizens are persons. Persons are corporations. When you say you are a black person or a colored person, you're saying you are a fake person, a artificial person. So here's the flip that they played on everybody with that. They get everybody to say, "Oh, I'm not black, I'm white." So you assume that you're in the best. You are the higher class of the oppressed people in general. But we understand it's the 1% versus the 99. The 1% is the ones who played this 14th Amendment trick on everybody. So here how they did it, right? It made everybody a person. That's what I said in that Twitter post. But it's not on here, but I responded to somebody and told them the 14th Amendment made all people persons. So when they made people persons, they made people corporations. Okay, so once they did that, they gave you these two, that one, and then this is the one where they flipped it on you. The validity of the public debt of the United States that automatically puts it on the people. The validity of the public debt, so the people's debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred payments of pensions and bounties of service pay, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debts. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debts or obligations incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States. This is why they always have us in some kind of a war, or claim for loss and emancipation of any slave, right? But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Okay, so the validity of the public debt was placed upon the people via the 14th Amendment, right? And you agree to this once you vote, which they so called granted the rights to black people, right? Because the so called, what the fuck is it? Don't make me look at this goddamn ad. So the so called white people could already vote, right? Not to be denied of race, right? See how they use the original people for their agenda. So the right for the citizens, remember, of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state any kind of race, color, remember what I told you, color meaning or previous condition of servitude. Congress shall have the power to enforce these article by appropriate legislation. Okay, so when you voted, like this thing said, okay, so vote. Go to vote, and you see suffrage, right? All right, you go to suffrage, and it's a vote. Right, casting a vote. such terms as suffrage, right? Participation in suffrage is not a right, but is granted by the state on the consideration of what is most for the interests of the state. Okay, that's the case law behind it. The grant of suffrage makes it a legal right. Okay, it's the difference between legal right and lawful right. Legal and law is two different things. Right now, we're looking at legalese and how they use language, double meanings. Okay, until it is recalled. Okay, so the grant of suffrage makes it a legal right until it is recalled and it is protected by the law as property is. You see? So your right to vote is a privilege, a legal right granted to you that can be recalled. All right? So, but understand, double talk. Now, what happens? To vote, what you have to do? You have to get in. You're you're a voter. See, it's two different, obviously, two different words. Okay? Now, peep the definition of voter. And then watch when I go to registration. Okay, because that's what you do. You get a voter registration card, and you sign your name on it, right? You fill out the information. Okay, that's a contract. Okay, the word has two meanings: a person who performs active voting, and a person, peep, who has the qualifications entitling him to vote. Its meaning, excuse me, its meaning depends on the connection in which it is used and is not always equivalent to electors. In a limited sense, a voter is a person having the legal right to vote, sometimes called a legal voter. Right? Now, people, you go to, let me go to registration and show you something. Okay, so registration. You see, registration goes to recording, enrolling in certain official registering enrollment as a registration of voters, registration for school, etc., acclimating lists, blah blah blah. Right? See, it also deals with stocks. You see, it also deals with securities, filing, blah blah blah. Okay, check it out. Enrolling, right? Let's go to enrolling. See what I'm saying? Okay, so you come to enroll. Check it out. Registered, recorded, generally speaking, terms registered and enrolled are used to distinguish certificates granted to two classes of vessels. Right? Remember, this is registration. Registry is for the purpose of declaring nationality of vessels engaged in foreign trade, and enrollment evidences national character of vessel engaged in coasting trade or home office. Man, we are in maritime law. That's the law of the sea. Okay? Okay? So when you register, you're declaring your nationality with that particular, with you register, which is the United States of America. Oh man, you see that? That's crazy. I ain't never looked at that. Okay, I know. I mean, that's what happens. But I ain't never looked at this in particular like that. Okay, so anyway, so you see, to get us so you see the scheme. Do you see the scheme? Goddamn me. they 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 made it about racism, Civil War. But anybody who's been looking at alternative history or what have you, you'll know that the Civil War was more about way more than slavery. Lincoln wanted to keep slavery to keep the Union. You understand what I'm saying? So what they used that to get people to go for the 13th Amendment and the Civil Rights Act of '66. But to get that they couldn't get that to pass, and that's what I wanted to show you. They couldn't get that to pass, right? That's when they had to do the 14th Amendment, okay? And they really couldn't get that to pass, but they passed it anyway because they crooked in the motherfucker, okay? But the 14th Amendment established the Equal Protection Clause with the reason to protect to all persons and their constitutional rights and equality before the law without distinction of race or color. Okay, the Equal Protection Clause. This was used in the fucking presidential election of 2000. See if it's on her. Hold on. Okay, peep this. Peep. A recent use of the equal protection doctrine came in Bush versus Gore. At issue was the controversial recount in Florida after the aftermath of the 2000 election. Everybody remember this. Everybody my age, damn sure remember this. I'm 35. The Supreme Court held that the different standards of counting ballots across Florida violated the Equal Protection Clause. The Supreme Court, the Supreme Court used four of its rulings from 1960s voting rights cases, right? One in which Reynolds versus Simmons. I'm not sure about that one. You can go look that one up. To support the ruling in Bush versus Gore, it was held that it, it was not this holding that proved especially controversial among the commentators, and indeed, the proposition gained 7 out of 9 votes. Justice Him joined the majority of the 5, but only for the finding that there was an equal protection violation. Much more controversial was the remedy that the court chose, namely the concession of the statewide recount. So you see, Bush used the equal protection right to win that election because the equal protection clause. Right? I had to go to remember what it was called. He used that because there wasn't equal ways to go about the recount in all the different counties. So they said, "Fuck it, they just ain't gonna recount," and that's how he got the election. I really think that only reason why I brought that up because I really think that was kind of the whole thing was a hoax because I don't believe nothing that they be going on because it wasn't his brother, the governor of Florida at that time. I believe it was. So like anyway, um, the point was I think they brought that up specifically just to bring the 14th Amendment topic up to the people because the next year was the September 11th shit. We all know that whole thing was already they got hints of that shit in the 60s fucking movies and shit. So okay, we already know that was what that was. So I'm just saying I think that's how they do. They push it in the public, but they put it from a different perspective, so you don't really understand. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you know your history type shit, then you'll catch what they're saying. You know what I mean? They do this all the time. Like recently, Ben and Jerry's put out a fucking thing against, and I know I'm going left, but they put out a thing against white supremacy, and then at the end they said sign a petition for the Moor Act, More, the Moor Act, and they talking about white supremacy and Black Lives Matter and shit. It's what's up. They bringing the attention to our plight, but at the same time, they know our history. You understand what I'm saying? All these if you're a millionaire in this society, you know the real history. Especially if you got influence. All right, so let me bring it home to the final 52 the 52nd card of the 52 fake out. No, it really ain't, but it kind of anyway. Fuck, hold on. Okay, so the last one, and I forgot one before this. I'm gonna go back, but I'm gonna show you here. This is the Act of 1871. Okay, the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871 was an act of Congress that repealed the individual charters of the cities of Washington and Georgetown and established a new territorial government for the whole District of Columbia. Okay, this is the United States citizen. This is the United States that we believe is a country. It is this. It came about from this act. This was an establishment of a separate government, okay? An artificial government, a goddamn corporation, okay? Right? If you go to USC 283002, okay, it tells you Council for the United States is come down. United States means a federal corporation. Okay? It's a corporation. An instrumentality of the United States. And man, you know what? When they say this right here, I would imagine that they really saying the instrumentality of the organic Republic United States. Because that's what this United States corporation was supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? A way for the people to enact with the government. Okay. Well, essentially, that's what a government is. But this United States government, this corporation, made the people persons. So it converted everybody into an artificial being. And this is why you have your driver's license and your name is always in all caps because you're an artificial being. See what I'm saying? So when you see this type of shit, okay, in 1871, the U.S. Treasury went bankrupt as a result of the Civil War. It sought the help from global financiers such as Rothschilds of London. Global bankers were eager to buy and transcend treason, Act of 1871 was passed by the 41st Congress. The Constitution was altered, and America was transformed into a corporation. Today, it's still a corporation owned run by global bankers. There is no federal government, only a corporation. Politicians do not serve we the people; they work for corporate America and no one else. Okay, so when you were born, your parents registered you with a government as a corporation by receiving and signing a birth certificate. Remember, it said when a person is born. Okay, it's a whole science on the word birth. I'm not gonna get into it in this video. I might do another video with this one if people ask me. In a few years, your corporation will receive a taxpayer ID, social security number, the TIN number, um, tax identification number, the Tin Man, and Wizard of Oz, right? Call the social security number, NIS number, IRD number, etc., depending on where you are, because these are different countries. This is so you can be used as collateral for the government to acquire debt. Remember what the 14th Amendment said. Okay, the public debt is to not be questioned. Okay, so your labor, your time, your energy is the national debt. You are the stock. Okay, so that's what we say when we say, when you black, you are a artificial person. So what I didn't go into was the Naturalization Act. You'll see the Naturalization Act was created in 1790. Keep the dates. 1790. This was right after. If I yeah, this because the I meant to do it anyway. The Sundry Free Moors Act was January of this year. So right after the Moors, they put it on on the record who they were and what it was. They established naturalization uh, the Naturalization Act of 1790. Same year, 2 months later. Okay, okay. It shall be considered natural born citizens. Okay, now it didn't get altered until look, the Naturalization Act of 1870 extended the naturalization laws to aliens of African nativity and to persons of African descent. See that automatically, when you say you African descent, you can't. You remember, Africans have no rights, and that remember the Dred Scott decision. Okay, but you are agreeing to that when when it's when we agree to be black people, we're agreeing to be of African descent, right? Okay, and we're agreeing to only having the rights given to us based on the 14th Amendment, which also granted rights to Walmart. Do you understand that? Okay, number 14th Amendment made people persons. Okay, so all of our remember, just like voting, right? That was a right. That was a legal right. They can be recalled under the law of property. You understand? So when you vote, you're registering with them. You are now their property. Your rights are granted. Okay? Civil rights, those that had nothing to do with government. That's where Martin Luther King comes in. Okay, I had to go find the picture. This is where this comes in at. Okay, this is a Rothschild. Remember what that other thing said? They got money from the Rothschilds in 1871, excuse me. Okay, look, this is him with him. They together. Okay, make you go for civil rights. It has nothing to do with government. Remember. All right. Okay, look at him. Let me see if let my computer work real quick on your ass. My computer will tell you. You look at it, you see them standing there at attention with in their little Masonic shit, with their bow ties. See what I'm saying? Okay, that's why that's important. Okay, that's why Malcolm was against that. All right. So just see, it was something else I wanted to show you on some real quick. Well, let me just show it since it's right here. I got it. I got it edited. Funny because I was trying to do something, but it's like black folks can't see what overdraft brought to them. This is on a book called The Secrets of America. Got his fez, right hand over his heart, just like the prophet. Okay, big wide nose. All right, this is our heritage. This is our history. This is who we are. This is the type of stuff we did. We noble people. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why all the many different names that we then went through. We got African American got spearheaded by this man, Jesse Jackson. We should know what's up in him by now. Now we claim American descendants of slaves. Like anything to go back, anything to keep from the original. You know. And lastly, just to prove the point for the 100,000th time, right? You black to become black from black. Blacking. Bleak, color black. Black, dark spot. The meaning black person, African, is from 1620. Perhaps late 13th century, maybe, right? And blackamoor is from 1540s. Okay? So you was a blackamoor before you was black person. You was a blackamoor. You get that. Dude, does that make sense? So if you go to blackamoor, obviously it comes from Moor. So that's who we are and that's what we are, and that's what all this is about. You understand what I'm saying? We got used through the Civil War and all that. That wasn't really about slavery. That was about putting everybody up under the corporate umbrella so they could basically fuck over everybody. And ain't that what's been happening? And then to keep the poorest so-called white man thinking he's better than the richest so-called black man, and to keep that dynamic, to keep perpetrating that dynamic, via agents in both communities, okay, then they can keep the people separate. The people, and I just mean people in general, and the 1% who's really doing this to everybody, and they just using the black versus white thing, as the like I like to use recently the 52 fake out. I don't even know where the fuck that came from. It's just been my saying here lately. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? So peace and love, man. I hope I explained. I hope that made some sense to y'all. Take it easy.